are at Northampton, the penultimate meeting of the season. Looks like it was a bit damp either late last night or this morning, so there's a bit of crap on the track, but some other formulas on here that should take the top off the sloppy bit hopefully, and we'll have a bit of a good surface to race on. Quite a lot here, pits are filling up quickly. Cars down the bottom there getting scrutineered. I've already been scrutineered and done, so just a quick top up of petrol, tyre pressures, and then we're ready to go for heat one. See what that brings. So heat one is finished. Track is very bumpy, so you have to pick your line. It's tight really, both corners. 3 and 4 going tight, come out wide. 1 and 2 just keep it tight all the way. But very tricky conditions, but same for everyone, and still good fun. So we got through Pat Carl. Carl started behind me, but he got by me. I was struggling a bit at the start, but I found a bit of a line, a bit of a pace in the middle. I was a little way back, but then last few laps I got through quite a few people, and in the end we crossed the line. Carl was second and I was fourth. Ollie Leap was up there. I think he was second, but I think he came out of the last corner, hit the fence, took his wheel guard off, and unfortunately that's a disqualification if your wheel guard comes off, so he got took out unfortunately, but he'll have a good go in the next race I should think. I ain't checked my kart yet, but Carl's in the background. Let's have a look what he's doing. So looks like another plug-in bearing for Carl gone again. Lovely. It was a bit bouncy.
Give me something to do.
Yeah, give me something to do. I'll supervise as usual. Just need the cat here to jump all over him. So I'll just check mine over in a minute. I may have the same problem, but we'll have a look. We'll have a look and see, and then get ready for heat 2. Kart's not too dirty, so not too bad. There goes Butcher in his F2. Stocks kart driver. Now switching over to F2s. He's doing a bit of both, but I watched him in the first heat. Very good drive, handling it real well. I think that's a good thing about stocks karts. They seem to be a stepping stone and give a driver a lot of experience and skill. There's a lot of drivers that have gone from stocks karts up to other formulas, Formula 2s and Rebels. Top 3 in Rebels at the minute are former stock kart drivers, and got a few in the F2s. So yeah, it's definitely a good place to start to get your racecraft and some skills. So I think it's because of the steering. You have to be really steady with the steering on here, really smooth, and I think that helps when you get to other formulas. So yeah. Anyway, I'll check mine over and we'll see how we get on in heat 2. Well, that's heat 2 done. Quite dark now. Not so good for me in that one. I didn't actually do that many laps. I took a big hit from behind, pushed me in some big ruts, and it took me up and bounced me down, and chain came off, which is annoying. Had to pull in the middle. There's a lot of action in that one. There's a big crash, and Liam Powell rolled over. But in the end, after yellows and carried on, Carl went through and took the win. So good win for Carl. He'll be happy with that. Kart's all sorted now. My chain's back on. Checked it over. So I'm ready for the final. So I'm hoping the final will go a bit better and we'll get a finish hopefully. But we'll see. So here we are back at HQ again after Northampton. So just going to check it over. But final wise, final not the best for me. Not the best meeting really, but it's alright. Final I probably got about 3/4 of the way through. It's up to about maybe 5th, something like that, and just come out the corner, was going straight, and it just got a bounce on because of the ruts in the track, and my chain just come off on its own. But that was due to heat 2, because in heat 2 I got pushed through a big rut, bounced up and down, and it bent the axle a bit. Checked it over after heat 2, and I could see it had a bit of whip in it, but I risked it because there weren't too much time and it was a bit dark, so we risked it, and risk didn't pay off obviously. I should have probably tightened the chain up a bit, but never mind, that's how it goes sometimes. I was in line to have a go at the track championship, but that didn't happen. But Carl carried on, but we'll speak to Carl about his final in a minute. So now I'm just going to check over the car, and what we'll do, we'll have a look at the back axle, and we'll look at the chain just to see what you can do to try and stop it coming off. Obviously, if your axle's quite bent, there's not a lot you can do, but we'll have a look now and see what you can do to minimize it. So as you can see, chain's not in line very well. The sprocket, because the sprocket's moving, it's moving the chain out of line. That axle stopped quite quick then, it shouldn't do. So yeah, we've got a good bend in the end, and obviously it makes the chain come off. Chain's probably not overly tight. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's got quite a lot of movement in it, but obviously with the sprocket out of line, probably should tighten the engine a bit to try and minimise it coming off. That's how it is. I'll have it off, I'll have a look, and then when I got it back together, we'll have a look at what you can do to minimise it coming off, the different things you need to line up and sort of put in place. So let's get cracking. So another thing to check is your actual sprocket on your drive, on your axle. Make sure it's not bent, because they can get bent if they take hits, so you just take it off. You can get a spirit level something, and obviously if there's a gap, one end, it's bent. You just got to check it's nice and straight each way. So, which that one is. So now I've got all the sprocket and everything off. I'll give it a spin. There you can see the bend in it. Sometimes you'll get away with that sort of bend. Just depends how the sprocket lines up with the clutch, how it lines up with your teeth on the clutch. So, but yeah, she's a little bit bent on the end there. So one thing to check is the actual chain. Make sure all the links are nice and free. So you can do it over your finger or over something like this. Just check they all bend and don't get jammed. So they're all nice and free. Like that, and then obviously you got to check that the chain's not twisted or nothing like that. It's nice and straight. Obviously when you put it on your sprocket, you can give it another spin and you'll see if it's got any twist or anything in it, then you'll hear it. So yeah, so just check your chain. Obviously you want a good chain as well. A good quality chain makes a difference. These this one here, DID, and it's a good chain. It's quite thick and it's tough, and it can take a lot of hits and stuff. I think they use them for motocross, and obviously they take a lot of crap and getting dirt in them and wax and whatnot. So very good chain to get, these ones, and quality of chain does make a difference. So on closer inspection of the chain, it looks, you can see it's lost the middle bit, the insert bit for the link. There's two of those missing somewhere. So yeah, we need to change them, because that won't help the job. That won't make it easier for it to jump off. So there's two of them somewhere. There's that one and another one. So I'll change them so it sits on the sprockets properly. Right, so we've got the axle straightened again now. So I've put it in, so some tips on keeping your chain on. So a good idea, obviously, I think most people have got, there's a spacer there, so your axle can't move that way or that way. See if we can get in. So in your bearing, you've got these grubs. There's two in there. So what I'll do is a drill into the axle, so the grub screw goes into the axle a little bit as well, and that stops it moving side to side. Same for the other side. Grub screws have also got this clamp there, which you can see there with a screw, and that's also drilled into the axle a bit to stop the axle going back that way. So if the axle moves either way, it'll take this out of line and it can just jump off. And then with the chain, you need to align the chain. To use that, we use this Team Nunn chain aligner. And I think I've shown you before, but basically put it on the back of the sprocket, and then if you look, I can't see very well, it'll line up with the edge of the clutch sprocket. So do that for each of the bolts, in line with each of them 3 bolts, so you know that's straight. Obviously once you've got it lined up, your axle will spin, look at that, and that's dead straight. Another thing which some people may not realise, the engine's on a base plate. So I'll just quickly freeze the frame here because I forgot to mention when I was recording that at the back of the base plate is a bolt. It's attached to the chassis, so that screws tight up to the engine plate on the back, and you can lock it with 2 nuts, so it holds the engine in place, it won't go backwards. Not all the karts, I don't know if it comes with it, but not all of them have it on the front. So I've got one on the front as well, which you can just see there in the top, towards the top left. So there's a plate with a bolt go through it. That pushes on the front end of the engine plate, locks 2 nuts, so that engine cannot slide forward or backwards. Obviously you bolt it tight to the bottom of the chassis, but if you take a big hit, if you hit someone quite hard, the engine can move forward, and obviously if the engine moves forward, that's what tightens your chain up. That's how you tighten and loosen your chain, you move the engine forwards and backwards. So if it moves forwards when you're in a race, it tightens the chain up, and that takes all the power out of the kart, so you won't be going very fast at all. And the other way, if it moves backwards, if you take a hit from behind or something, it will really loosen your chain, then it will come off really easy. So I think that's a really important thing to have to keep your chain on, the bolts at the front and the back of the engine. So there you go. Steel plate under here. When that bolts to the engine, there's a slot on the engine so it can move a little bit forwards and backwards. So when you bolt it onto the base plate, the engine, you need to make sure that's dead straight level with the base plate. So then when you bolt it onto your chassis, it's level with the chassis. Or you can get twists, so you know your engine will be a different, slightly misaligned to your sprocket. And if you put all those things together, hopefully your chain will stay on. This is the tension I've got on my chain. That's how I normally run it. Probably you can go a bit tighter than that if you want, but that's how I run it, so my axle runs nice and free. And that's about it. Get all those. Obviously if you bend your axle and the sprocket comes out of line, there's not a lot you can do about that. But yeah, that's it. So look at the front end, and am I surprised that the plug-in bearings are gone? The condition of the track, the answer is a no to that. I was suspecting the plug-ins to be gone, the bearings anyway. But it's a lot better the bearings breaking than bending your plug-in, so you definitely want your bearings to break rather than the plug-in bend. So there's another job to do now. Here we are with Carlos Nunnos. And Cat's trying to drink my tea. Get away. So done it again. With Northampton just finished. I said how we done in heats 1 and 2 on at the track. So how was your final? Just talk us through your final race.
Bloody marvellous.
It's a bit emotional.
That was going alright. The track was a bit rubbish, a bit like it was in heats 1 and 2. Well, it's alright if it kept inside. Heat 2, outside of 2 was quite horrendous. So you had to keep out of that. But no, it's going alright. Yeah, it's all going alright. Going to lead and pulled a bit of a gap. And then coming last lap. Oh dear. Chev had just caught up Shell, so he sort of slowed up, and then he went on the inside of her, but he still weren't very quick, so I hit him up the arse. And coming out of the corner, he just took my speed off and sort of left me wide open. I did keep on Shed for a bit. I was hoping he was going to stay in line. I would use him as a brake, but he moved out right out of the way. So I went in, but a bit deeper than normally would, and he sort of come in hard, hit me up the back, but well, hit me across the back and just spun me straight out. Which, debatable move. You know, I was expecting to whack up the bum and him just come straight around the inside, which, you know, wouldn't have been no problem at all. But yeah, it obviously spun me out, and then my chain come off and sat there looking at the start finish line.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So close.
So close, but one of them things. But yeah, just give me something else to do at another meeting. Yeah, we'll have a look at him at some point when we get a chance. When he's in the right place at the right time.
Keep the crowds entertained.
Yeah,
they love a bit of that.
Yeah, love a bit of that.
So.
But yeah, overall, yeah, it's a good meeting really. Yeah, enjoyed it. Yeah, even though it was a bit bumpy, but yeah, it was good. Yeah, all right. Got a bit further than you in the farm, I suppose.
Yeah, so I've just been talking about that. Chain came off at its own, but having a closer look, we've seen some of the issues now. So.
Yeah, bit of
linkage, yeah. Good. So, all right, and next up, Skeggy.
Yeah, that should be
good with the
bit
party.
of practice, bit of let food people have a go in this. See what they reckon to it.
See if they can get it round. If you're going in Carl's cart, I suggest you do some weights and a bit of workout before you come. This cat is, what is he doing to me?
Top tip of the day is not to try and take the steering wheel off when they get in.
No,
It don't
steering won't come off. Flipping cat.
Loves you.
Can I help? What? He's snotted all on my arm. Thank you very much. What do you say?
That's the other one.
That's Frankie, isn't it?
It's Frank.
Keeps headbutting me. This is Frankie.
Yeah.
Go and claw Carl.
Probably. I should have done that.
Go on, have him.
I should have done that. A leap of faith now.
Go on. Straight up
No,
at you.
enjoy it.
He don't jump at your legs, does he?
You need to look better as the other one. You don't climb up him like Benny did.
No. So here we are again, it's Victory Lane, just to let the winners have a bit of credit from the day. So we'll start with the juniors. Junior Heat 1 and Heat 2 winner was number 306, Oliver Heron, flying around the track. In the final, a brilliant win for 361, Tom Fincher, been driving well recently. Number 1, Aidan Grindy, following second, always up there, and a good third for 227, Kai Pillage, driving well at the minute, having a real good spell. So that was your juniors. In the seniors, it was a Heat 1 win for the Mad Farmer, 528, Rob Key Jr. In Heat 2, it was Carl Nunn, 265, Team Nunn flat cap wearing Maestro. And in the senior final, we had 51 Andy King take the win, 816 Bradley Lawson taking the second place, and number 8 Matthew Lloyd in third. He loves a bit of shale or wet, so good to see him on the podium again. So there you go, that's the winners from the day. Well done, everyone. Yeah, so that is it for this week. Oh, for fuck's sake, cat. We got a big close up of some cat bollocks.
Lovely. Great timing.
Anyway, that's it for this week. Keep it real.
Keep it stock cars. Yes.